Today, you're going to learn how to draw a $250,000 sports car that goes 0 to 60 faster than Fred Flintstone on Red Bull. Wait a second, it has power windows. Make that $260,000. All you have to do is follow my step-by-step instructions and watch the shading tutorial, and you'll be able to draw the Lamborghini Gallardo. Let's get started. Step 1. Draw the 3 trapezoids that you see. Take extra time to observe their placement. Due to the rules of perspective, the large trapezoid at the top is rounded at its top. Step 2. Don't freak out. Look closely. All I added was a half circle with other shapes inside. Notice that the half circle is slightly smaller than the large trapezoid shape from step 1. Step 3. Now here is the hard one. First, notice that I closed the shape on the right side. Second, notice that I added a rectangular shape directly below the smaller trapezoids from step 1. Take time to notice the placement of the shapes within the rectangle. Finally, notice the horseshoe shape in between and below the shapes I added from steps 1 and 2. Step 4. Add the front tires and the fancy thingy on the door. If you make it through step 3, step 4 will be a breeze. Step 5. Complete the back end of the car from observation. Take some extra time to notice the details of the rims and the wheels. Let me tell you the truth. This is going to be a doozy to shade. Going to be really hard. But that shouldn't scare you away from doing it. Let me try to talk you through it. First of all, I'm not too bright for choosing white as a color for the car. A reference image that was from a white picture. It probably would have been easier if I took something neutral in tone. But basically, you're not going to do too much shading of the white area, just a little bit. And only in some areas, and I will point out those areas to you. So it's either super dark or super light. All of the detailing on the Lamborghini, at least that I observed, tends to be black. So it's black and white. And I'm going right in. I'm doing the opposite of what I would do if I was doing a portrait. As most of you know, most of my videos are portrait step-by-steps. But I'm going in with a 8B pencil, and I'm getting those dark areas out of the way. So you see the areas, most of the tires in the back. You're going to see the front tire. I'm going to do something very similar in a moment. The detailing underneath the headlights, and behind the, there is no rear seat in the Lamborghini, but behind the front windows of the car, that's all dark. Underneath the tail, that gets pretty dark. You don't have to press all the way if you're using an 8B pencil, but make sure that that area is dark too. Notice that the windows, there's a gradation that's happening. It's light and dark. That's actually going to change a bit in a little bit, but it's a variation. You don't want to just leave that, because there's always going to be a reflection depending upon what's around it. So you want to differentiate the windows. You don't want them to just be solid, or else it's going to start looking flat. The tires, the details in the tires, notice that I procrastinate on that. That's not the funnest part to do. But let's see, underneath the headlights, that area, I'm going to leave it a little bit dark. And I'm using a paintbrush. I just... the same paintbrush that I use, it's a bristle brush, same I use for portraits. I'm just, it's not even like I'm dipping it in any sort of paint. I'm just like pulling the lead over. And it had remnants of like my last few portraits in it, so I just used that little bit that was left, to pull in at the bottom there. Now you really can't see it because I did the same with the top. I'm going to take it off the top, but I wanted to just indicate that it's not the color of the page. I'm shading underneath the car. I'm using an HB pencil for now, but the strongest part of that shape is going to be done with the 8B pencil. I'm really going dark on this. Now, the second part of this shading tutorial, which I didn't intend it to be a second part, is the ground and the background. And I'm almost done with the car, believe it or not. But I just had to work extra hard on the background and the ground because I made a white car, or because I used a reference image of a white car. So, just so it makes sense, just so it stands out on the page, I'm darkening the background, and I'm doing hatching on the ground, and I'm going to do hatching behind the car, in the background. The headlights I darkened a little bit. If I were you watching the video, what I would do is I would pause it at different steps, at different points, kind of make your own steps, and just try to draw from this reference image. I'm sorry about the glare. I didn't notice that when I was shading. You see in the rear wheel right there. But pause it when it's not glaring, I guess, and just try to draw. That's what happens when you go over it with an 8B pencil. It gets really, really shiny. Yeah, the graphite does. I'm doing a little indication of the door. Now you see me getting darker with the windows, and I'm starting to build up the background. And again, the darker tones in the background will make the white stand out. I'm thinking of composition. I'm also going to darken the ground a little bit more, but not as dark as the shadow underneath the car. That has to be very dark, but it may be a tone or two lighter. I say this a million times, everything in shading is relativity. How dark something is versus another area of your artwork, compared to all the different areas of your artwork. And you get a gradation of light to dark, and that's what really makes it interesting. That's what brings the eye to your drawing. And I don't think people would notice this drawing if I didn't darken the background. And you're probably going to laugh, but the honest answer is I spent more time on the background than I did the car. But that's sometimes what you have to do. Now I'm putting on the finishing touches. I'm making sure that shadow really stands out. I'm making sure that I'm darkening the background to a decent tone. I would recommend taping your drawing instead of holding it like I did. I just need to move it around because of the camera, but you don't want to get your hands on the drawing, ideally, because the oil's in your hand. I keep my whole entire set of pencils nearby. I pretty much use them all. It's a range from, I don't really use H pencils, but HB all the way to 8B pencils. So HP to 8B. And 8B, of course, is the darkest. No, I lied. I use a Prismacolor black. That's the darkest pencil that you could get. That's the darkest pencil on the market. Problem with the Prismacolor black is it's a color pencil, and it's wax based, so it kind of you have problems shading over the graphite. Anyhow, I hope that this tutorial was helpful to you, and I wish you the best of luck in drawing it. Please leave comments, and check out my other videos. Click any of these links to get to some of my playlists, one of my other stations, Or, of course, you could subscribe. Hint, hint. Okay, thanks for watching.